They beat Everton and take all 3 points. And just a reminder of what that means at the bottom of the table. It gives Newcastle a little bit of breathing room between them and that relegation zone. They are currently then 2 points clear of Norwich. They're now just one behind Everton in 16th. Don, it's like Don Derby, the team you supported and the team you captained. Overall, Newcastle thoroughly deserving of this win. They were good.
They were brilliant, Dan. I mean, the standard, I have to say, for the first half an hour wasn't great. There were some very comical moments. Both teams were very nervous. Second half, Newcastle was so good. I mean, St Maximin got voted man of the match, but I thought Kieran Trippier was man of the match by a million miles. And in my opinion, if I was Eddie Howe, I'd take the armband off Jamal Lascelles and give it to Trippier, because the Newcastle fans absolutely adore him. He was getting stuck in. He was cool in possession. He was calm. Second half, Newcastle grew in a bit of confidence. I thought Matt Targett played well, Trippier played well. Lascelles and Cher weren't particularly solid. Midfield, I thought Willock played well, Shelby did okay. Top end of the pitch, Chris Wood needs better service. Ryan Fraser and St Maximin were really, really good. And then come off the bench at the end, Gimaresh come off the bench at the end, and he had one or two little back heels and back flicks, and you can see, you know, he's going to be loved at Newcastle. It wasn't quite the game for him. I was surprised before the game, Dan. I thought he would have started, but he didn't. He came off the bench. So all in all, I mean, a huge win, but I've got to say Everton were hopeless.
Newcastle give themselves a little bit of room, of course, looking to avoid the drop after this big takeover. Brought in a number of players in January, as Don mentioned, Bruno coming off the bench. Kieran Trippier has been excellent. It's interesting, isn't it? We saw Atleti, and we saw them obviously against Barcelona, and how weak they were at the back. To let Trippier go in the manner that they did and the performance that he put in today, looks more a head scratcher, doesn't it?
It just smacks to me like they've granted the player the wish to return to England.
Yeah.
Which, listen, if you're the club in Simeone, I kind of tip my cap to that rather than try and fight it if that was the case.
But exactly sort of player you want in this sort of situation.
Yeah, absolutely, because Vasilico is an experienced player at Atleti, but he's in his 30s and he's getting a roasting now. It seems every week he plays. But man, Trippier, he's never been a Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's never going to be this guy that, you know, just gives you the wow factor, but he gives you a 7 or 8 out of 10 almost every time. He knows the position really well. I think his stint in Spain has given him so much more experience of a different league and different tactics, and he's learned more, I feel. His set pieces, as you saw, brilliant. He'll get stuck in. He's a good passer. He's not a brilliant passer, he's a good passer of the ball as well. He's a good crosser of the ball. So, yeah, I think Targett's also a good player on the other side, but I think he is the jewel in that back four. And, of course, Dan Burn from Brighton will probably come in sooner rather than later and partner Lascelles. Unless he goes to a back three, who knows, he might do. But I think their transfer market alone, in my opinion, is enough to stay up. I don't think they will be in that bottom three come end of the season.
What was wrong with Everton?
Wow, I mean, where'd you start, Dan? They were hopeless. I mean, a million miles from the performance against Brentford. I thought they looked very edgy. I think if Frank Lampard could have the 24 hours, 48 hours that he had in the window, after this performance, he'd buy centre-backs, because Michael Keane's completely out of form. Yeremina picked up a thigh injury. He had to go off injured. Holgate's lacking confidence. I still think they've got a little bit of an off, you know, Dan. I was on social media and Everton fans are all over the place thinking they're going down. I think if Richarlison can sort of stop believing his own hype, Damari Gray, Anthony Gordon, Andros Townsend, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think there's enough to try and fire them to safety. There's 3 worse teams than Everton for sure. But my word, at the back, they were hopeless second half. They were so bad.
Who's more likely to go down, Newcastle or Everton, Don?
I don't think either, Dan. I think, and that's not biased, Newcastle fan, they've just, you know, they've went back-to-back wins for the first time this season. When you get back-to-back wins, Dan, and when you're in the bottom 3, it's so valuable. You see Watford lose tonight. Burnley picked up a point. I know Burnley have got games in hand, but Newcastle have got a game in hand. I think on Everton, I think on Leeds, if I'm correct as well. And I think Brentford are in free fall. I think the signings, as Craig said, there's enough quality there that's going to get them away from the bottom 3. Not by a million miles.
Who's more likely, though, Don?
I don't think either, Dan, to be honest. I think both will be fine.
No, that's not the answer. There has to be an answer to that. There has to be one or the other.
Well, if I'm going one or the other, I'd probably say Newcastle.
Right.
I think Everton have got more than enough. I think Newcastle are, apart from tonight, Newcastle traditionally, under Eddie Howe at the start of the season, don't score many goals. Tonight was a little bit of a fluke. I think a long time ago since they scored 3, and they don't get a lot of service. So if you're pushing me for an answer, I'd say Newcastle, but I still think both will be fine.
I'll be honest, I switched off on Everton a little bit in terms of, they're not high on our list anyway at the moment because they're not, just haven't pulled up any trees for a while, as good a club as they are. But I sort of switched off on them, just looking at everybody else thinking, no. But I know Benitez is he's not the apple of their eye, and I know it's not great there in the football, but no. Relegation, no. But I'm looking at what they've got. I'm looking about what they've brought in.
Yeah.
What Van de Beek are we going to get? What Dele Alli are we going to get? I mean, on paper, it could be good for them, but I would be worried if I was an Everton fan. I would be worried because I do agree with Don. I think there are 3 worst teams, but there's not many putting in worse performances at the moment.
Right.
So I didn't think a couple of months ago they were going to be in this big a problem, but they're deep in the doo-doo at the moment.
A big task then for Frank Lampard. Just a reminder, ESPN FC back on your screens tomorrow. More Premier League talk, like the Liverpool. I think Spurs are in action, Manchester City as well.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.